It's the Exit 52 podcast, instant analysis presented by Jimmy's Famous Seafood, following a 37-20 Chiefs thrashing of the Baltimore Ravens. Taylor Smythe here with you with my good pal, Mr. Banks. Brian Black will be taking you here. We've got Jake at Oceans calling. We've got Spenny in Europe. RDT doesn't join these shows. You guys don't want to hear from him anyway on the Ravens. Brian, this was not a fun day. This was not a fun game. The Ravens come down and score immediately and then look pretty putrid throughout the remainder of the game. I would say that vibes around this team, certainly from a fan base perspective, but I can't imagine from a locker room perspective, have been this bad in a long time. The Ravens are really good in no facet today outside of the opening drive. A Justice Hill, home run touchdown at the end really prevents this from being the blowout it probably was. I think a 17-point loss is closer than what the game indicated to a certain extent. And the Ravens sit at 1-3, 2 games back in the division with a lot more questions than answers at this point. Your thoughts?
Pathetic. Just honestly pathetic. And to your point, all different facets. It's hard to just sit here and dissect what's wrong when everything is wrong, it feels. Defensively is probably where the biggest issues lie. They just have no spunk, no ferocity, no physicality. They're even slower than they are not physical. They're just chasing guys all day. Guys are wide open, very little pass rush, just no dog. It's exhausting. I just constantly being in second and short and third and short and not coming up with stops on fourth down hardly at all, giving quarterbacks all kinds of time to do whatever they want. I mean, last week it was Goff with all the time in the world to do whatever he wants. We know he's not a very mobile guy, but you give a guy like Mahomes that kind of time and space, and even when you do get those pressures, he makes something out of it. So there's just no way you can expect to compete with the way the defense is playing right now, no matter how efficient the offense is. And we've seen them be very good in pockets. And quite frankly, other than that opening drive, they just were not cohesive whatsoever. Offensive line looks terrible. Lamar is starting to throw back foot throws, which is not something we've seen him do for the most part. Usually it's, hey, maybe I take a step back to buy myself some more time and space. But I think defenses are doing a good job of containing him and not giving him those extra lanes. And I mean, we saw the interception today, first bad regular season interception he's thrown pretty much since 2023, which is crazy to think about. And I don't even hate the interception per se. It's one that I think you throw up a jump ball and more times than not, we end up on the right side of it. But I don't know. It's frustrating. It's week after week. There's just no progress, it seems. It's spiraling, and now we've got the injury concerns, which is a whole nother conversation in itself.
Yeah, obviously the injuries is something to get to, and it certainly plays a big part in the performance today on both sides of the football, especially defensively. But I think you summed it up early on there is that, and we talked about it last week, and it's been talked about ad nauseum kind of in the week-to-week discourse about this team so far, is there seems to be, you use the word spunk, there seems to be a mentality issue with the team, both players on the field, staff on the sidelines. Hard to analyze front office once everything's out there, but there's just not that same confidence level on either side of the football that regardless of who's in the game, they had Harbaugh coming out of halftime with Tracy Wolfson, and he said, she asked about injuries, obviously, and he goes, next player up, just got to make a play. And obviously guys are in there, and you've got guys off the street in there, you got guys off the practice squad, but it doesn't feel like that. And this isn't a shot at any of those guys, but it doesn't feel like there's that, that mentality is actually there. It feels like without those guys in the game, that all kind of fell apart from just as you said, just like staying in it from like a spunk perspective. And, credit to Justice Hill for like ripping off that late touchdown. That's certainly an effort play that he made, but yeah, the play like a Raven thing is thrown around a lot, and that doesn't feel like what's going on right now. And it feels like now just an increasingly hostile situation involving a very upset fan base and a team that just doesn't necessarily look like has the pieces in place to be as successful as everyone wants them to be, including obviously themselves. These dudes are all super competitive. There's a reason they're NFL players. And you get the results you get today against, the team that has done that the best in football over the last 10 years is win. And so, look, there's a ton of issues. The guys they have on the field defensively in the second half, we're not going to stop that Chiefs offense, really regardless of effort level. So I think that has to be said. And then where you start to question coaching is you're down at 4th and 1 in Chiefs territory and you kick to make it a 14-point game. I don't know in what world they thought a field goal there does anything to help them win that game. You had to score touchdowns. Your defense was not going to consistently stop the Chiefs. And that's okay to admit. They have all these guys out. You have practice squad guys and dudes they pulled up off the street this week. It's okay. And that's where you start to question coaching as well. Were they prepared for the blitzes that Steve Spagnuolo was going to bring? Didn't seem like it. So it's just, like I said, there's a lot more questions than answers. They are on the precipice of a season from hell type situation, both in injuries and in terms of just what it feels like, the kind of vibe and tenor of the group is. And that's going to end in some major changes if it goes that direction. Look, we talked about it last week. They have a very, very easy part of the schedule coming up after this sort of gauntlet they went through that gets them to 1-3. And that could paper over some things. But if Lamar Jackson's out for any extended period of time, that will paper over nothing. They will not, they will have a hard time being competitive. So, it's not good. It's not good. I certainly, am on the more positive end of the spectrum, as I said to me all the time. But you can't look at this season in a huge lens of positivity moving forward, unless guys come back from injury and you have a really, really big late season surge. It's just, they're going to they put themselves behind the 8 ball, and now the injuries have put them even more beyond. And obviously there's some struggles in the coaching department right now as well. So, will those changes be made in season? I would imagine not. I think you have to continue to go back to the Ravens. Don't make these types of moves in the middle of the year. So it's sort of like you're kind of going to the end with who we have. But it's not good. That was not a fun game to watch, and was pretty demoralizing in really all facets.
Yeah, they're just not playing very cohesive football right now. This is more or less the quarter pole of the season, which is crazy to think about. But as I'm looking at some common themes amongst these 4 games that we've played, and this includes the Browns game too, is total plays we've had offensively. We've had 50 in the first game against Buffalo, 53 against Cleveland, 54 against Detroit, and I believe 53 again today. We've lost the time of possession battle in all 4 games. This used to be our bread and butter. We used to be the team that would dictate the terms of the football game, maintain possession of the football, methodically move down the field, and it was like quicksand for other teams, and we're on the other side of that coin every single week. So I'm a little bit stuck between thinking we may just be arrogant in terms of what we think our team is capable of. And so when we're building game plans, we're building them under the premise that we're capable of things that we're simply not capable of, because we're like, first offensive drive today looked very good. Behind that, what are we doing? And then what's worse is that it doesn't seem like we're making any sort of adjustments mid-game to account for what's happening to us. It's just quicksand, and there's no sort of, there were defenses that in the Wink Martindale era that we didn't necessarily have the personnel to do everything we wanted to do. So what do? We brought the house all the time. We tried to force the issue. Sometimes we got burned on that. Sometimes we didn't. Right now, we're just taking it. We're just taking it from behind, left and right. It's happening week after week. You look at some of the team stats, and they don't look as bad as it feels. 5 for 15 on third downs is pretty good, but we're 4 for 4 allowing fourth downs get converted. This game could have been much uglier on the scoreboard than it was. And I'm not even talking about the Justice Hill touchdown. We held them to 4 field goal attempts. We managed to do that. They missed one of them, but they very easily could have cashed in and converted those field goals into touchdowns. And this game could have been even uglier than it was. So it's, I mean, I think of I think of my own golf game. Like it's trash right now, tee to green. I try to get out there on the range and figure out what I have at least. We're not figuring out what we have in real time and adjusting accordingly. Like we're not gaming anything. We're just hoping that we just outclass people and we're just getting our ass kicked left and right.
Yeah, and you at some point have to make it an admission that you're not the juggernaut you perceive yourself to be, and maybe say, look, if we go down this way, we'll just hand it to Derrick Henry 30 times, and we'll just try to kind of control the ball, limit possessions on the other side, and win that way. Now, obviously, you then go to the offensive line issues that they've had, and you're not really built to do it that way. So it's tough to change who you are midstream. But I think as they head into these next few games here, you're going to have to change some things around, because it just, I mean, you have, the multiple showings of frustration from Lamar. It's very clear that something is amiss in terms of how they're trying to execute offensively. And Todd Monken, who we watched be the architect of an incredible, offensive performance last year, is going to have to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, like kind of who are we with the personnel that we have? And especially if Lamar is out, it's going to have to get totally rejiggered. I mean, Romo said it kind of as they ended the broadcast today, and was like, if Lamar is out, this is going to become a Derrick Henry team. This is just going to become become a Titans team with Tannehill, where you have to run it 30 times and you hope you keep the ball for long enough. And the problem with that is to play that way, you need a defense that can keep the other team off the scoreboard. And they have not shown the ability to do that at all over the past few games. And so, yeah. And then you go to the injuries. I think we have to talk about it. Marlon goes down, Roquan goes down, Ronnie Stanley goes down. I think I'm going to miss somebody here. Ronnie Stanley goes down. Let me see if I can find it.
Wiggins.
Yeah, Wiggins, Lamar, obviously we talked about. Look, if those guys are out, there's only so much the Ravens can do. I mean, you're not pulling guys off the street. You're not going and then making franchise-altering trades. If those guys are out for a really long time, it's like sucks to just sit here and say it on this show where we want people engaged week to week, but like, the season is kind of what it is. And so that's a giant defining thing. Now, if that happens and you go down and you go 5-12 or whatever, that probably necessitates a coaching change. And maybe that's at this point what people would want. So maybe if you're like a really dire look at it, you're like, oh, this is going great. If it's going to go poorly, let it go as poorly as possible. Sort of the Ravens and the U.S. Ryder Cup team in a similar spot today. Can it go as poorly as possible? So wholesale change are made. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough to say a ton new from what we've gone over the last 2 weeks on this team, because this was just almost the continuation of the rock bottom I think people felt last week, with a bunch of very, very key injuries layered on top of that, to which you're like, well, I mean, now we just kind of wait with bated breath or with held breath, I guess, for what the results of those injuries are and how that kind of affects the team moving forward. Because I think, if this is a hammy for Lamar that keeps him out 3-4 weeks, and all fair play to Cooper Rush, but you lose 4 in a row after this, your season's kind of done anyway. So the worst part about a game like this is there's just not many positives to take.
Tyler Loop.
Tyler Loop. Sure.
Tyler Loop.
There you go. Yeah. Justice Hill.
I'm trying here. Justice Hill.
No, but I mean, at one point, we're watching Patrick Mahomes drive down the field, and I'm watching, and it's Okoye, Teddy Buchanan, Trenton Simpson. I mean, these guys. These are guys that have not played a lot of NFL football. I saw a tweet I won't credit this. I saw a tweet that was like, but I just can't remember who it was, so I apologize. That the Chiefs were playing the Ravens, preseason week 3 defense at a certain point there during the game, and it's not wrong. So with those guys on the field, Patrick Mahomes is going to kind of do what he wants. So not a good situation. And it's they didn't totally look prepared, but it ends up being a tough game to even judge Harbs on, because they didn't have a lot of like consequential decisions as they went through the game. I really think it was crazy for them to, after being aggressive and going for it in your own territory in the first half, to I guess like make a statement, and you miss that. Then you get down there and you don't go for it on 4th and 1, and you kick to make it a 14-point game in the second half. I don't understand how those things vibe together.
Yeah.
So that would be my biggest critique of the coaching today. That just feels like super inconsistent decision-making on how aggressive you're going to be. Like, I'd rather you punt. I'd rather you punt in your own territory and go for it when you know that your defense is just going to have that. This goes back to your point about like admitting what you have on a given day. And you're right. Maybe it is an arrogance that is seeped in that doesn't allow them to kind of go through that. But it feels inconsistent. It feels a little bit random, and it's not leading to a lot of good football.
No, not at all. The one coaching thing that's just like from a pride standpoint, like you got to go for 2 after scoring that touchdown. Like, I mean, you just have to, as minuscule of the chances of making some sort of comeback there, just from a matter of pride, like to be a competitor, like they should go for 2. That's just my personal take on that. But yeah, it's. But how many times are we going to do this whole like they got to look in the mirror and figure out what's what? Like we've done this 3 out of 4 weeks now.
Correct.
Like,
yeah.
So
yeah.
it's no takeaways in any of these games against the Bills, Lions, and Chiefs. Those are the kind of teams that we looked at all off season and said we got to figure out a way to beat these kinds of teams. We got to start taking away the football in the postseason. No takeaways in any of those games. We had our fun against Cleveland. Long to make a case that Flacco fumble was not a fumble at all. It did feel like we were trying to punch the ball out, and Kelsey, I think, was reckless with the ball a couple times where I thought maybe we had a shot at it. But even then, I mean, how many throws did Mahomes make today that were in any sort of danger? It's because we just don't force the issue. We don't. So, I mean, what is there to say? I'm sick of this time of year going into a game like home against Houston and being like, well, this could be a really nice get-right game. I'm sick of get-right games. Let's just be right from the jump.
Kyle Hamilton started his news conference post-game apologizing to the fans. Said he used, this is Jeff Zuribeck tweeting.
Tired of it.
Said he used poor choice of words and calling the fans spoiled. Said the product on the field isn't good enough. Quote, we've got to get it fixed.
Sure. I mean, you have to say we got to get it fixed because it's the truth of it, but I'm tired of hearing that too. So what are you going to do?
Harbaugh says, quote, he's concerned about the 1-3 start, but not overwhelmed by it. I'm just going to have you react to quotes.
Not overwhelmed by it. I mean, I agree. It's like this guy, like to talk about, hey, this team is not making the playoffs definitively is, I think, totally premature. And there's a long way to go for this team to get some things figured out. But they don't play a road game for 5 weeks between 3 straight home games and a bye week between. They don't have to go anywhere until Miami, October 30th. So a lot of time at the castle to look in the mirror. Tough game against the Rams in that stretch too, where I'm sure Stafford will look like. I mean, he looks good regardless.
He does. He looks very good right now, though.
That's just a Nakua field day. So opportunities to try to test yourself against good offenses, good coaching.
It will be you will be at some of these games. I'm sure it will be fascinating to see what the home environment is like for some of these games.
Yeah.
Especially if Cooper Rush is trotting out at quarterback.
Yeah, 100%. I'm curious to see too, is like, all right, if we were to be 3-1 instead of 1-3, like Lamar, how much are you, panic button's not the right word, but like how much are you feeling his need to be out there sooner rather than later, given the circumstances at hand? Like, it's an unfortunate bed that they've made for themselves.
I mean, we talk about 3-1. It should be 2-2. I mean, a series of unfortunate events causes you to lose the Bills games. I know, last week was much more decisive against the Lions. But what's crazy is how different it feels from where I was, sitting on this couch 6 feet away from me in the third quarter against Buffalo to where we feel right now. Like, that is about as wide of a stretch of how you could feel about a team in this short a period of time that I can come up with, where you're like, oh my gosh, this might be the best team in football. Look at how this offense playing. Defense struggled, but you're like, all right, it's Josh Allen, like whatever. To where we are now, where the defense is injured and seemingly hopeless, and the offense has an injured Lamar and has seemingly lost its way from an efficiency perspective, with a struggling offensive line, with a fine receiving core. and a Derrick Henry that looks a little bit like befuddled at what has come over him over the first 4 weeks of the season. It's a very, very, very bizarre team. And as you said, like, it's like tiring to continue to go through and be like, oh, yeah, another game against one of the top dogs that you blow or that you get, beat down in. It's like, this is the stuff that gets a John Harbaugh fired. Eventually you have to like get through those teams. And he's not getting through them. I don't care who's hurt. Like you've blown 3 of those opportunities in the first 4 weeks to kind of make a statement about who you think you're going to be. And if they go down this road, then that's how it goes. So there's just not much else to say at this point about them.
Yeah. Tyler Loop.
You want to do 5 minutes on the Ryder Cup?
Sure. Well, I mean, why not? Let's just continue to.
It was electric for 2 hours.
It was a pretty
awesome. The Rolex hour might have been the best hour of sports today.
And then they ran out of inventory.
We started going to commercials.
Yeah, we had a playthrough where Morikawa had a gigantic putt, and it's like it never even happened. I mean, what's to say about the Ryder Cup that we aren't saying about the Ravens?
I know. Maybe Keegan can become the Ravens coach, and Harbs can head over to captain the team.
I don't see how anybody comes out ahead in that scenario. That's the envelope thing is the thing that everybody should be railing on right now. It's just an absurd rule, particularly given the context. This specific context is why the rule itself is stupid. I could see if it was deadlocked and the calculus is different, but like Alex Noren, for example, is one of the assistant captains on Europe. He's won 2 DP World tournaments in like the last month leading up to this. He just kind of missed the deadline to be really, really good to make the Ryder Cup team. It's like, let's just agree to slot him in. Like, there should be a vice captain or assistant captain that's a designated step-in
guy. Could have been like Kisner for the U.S. and
I mean, we probably would have picked somebody different than what we're talking about, but
yeah, you would have had one guy there. It's like Olympic alternates.
Trying to think of like who's the intersection of still playing good golf.
Keegan
Bradley. Yeah.
Like late 30s, early 40s, where you're still playing well, but you could still be a Ryder Cup vice captain. Keegan.
Yeah.
Literally is the guy.
It is the guy. It is a fun day
Cooch?
to watch. Too far gone.
I was trying to come up with somebody good.
Non-competitive. There's somebody out there. But yeah, it's pretty embarrassing the way they got their doors blown off the first 2 days, to say the least. And that's how they got in this mess. Also, the retain thing needs to go away too. It was a double whammy between the retain the cup and the Victor Hobble bullshit. And that all combining together, it's almost like if this had truly ended in a 14-14 tie, given the context of Europe having gotten that one key half point by way that they did, they should have said, we're going to wash our hands of the retain rule given this context, and we're going to do some sort of tiebreaker. What's
crazy is that in 2025, when sports is all based around being as good of a TV product as possible, which golf struggles with a lot, the fact that an event like that could even end in a tie is insane. The fact that has not been changed, the retain thing will probably not get changed. Because the honor history, the envelope thing will get changed. That will change before a dare. There's just no way it won't change. It's an insane rule. Like
Lucas Glover. There's a name.
That's a good. There you go. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Billy Horschel, but I don't think he ever made a Ryder Cup team, so it's kind of like never won a major.
He would have been he feels like a guy that would have really, really loved the Ryder Cup.
I mean, Ricky Fowler's getting up there a little bit.
Yeah. If you were on the team 2 years ago, though, I don't know if you can be eligible for this.
I mean, Gary Woodland's back in the top 100. He was one of the assistants. Could have called his number, but well, it's not us that would have had to do that, but Alex Noren's right there, and he's probably, if they just changed the deadline, would have been on that team running away. But
they wouldn't do that in the Captain's Cup. Oh, we have a comment that says
No.
Travis Holland comments Billy was inside the ropes following him. There you go. So he was there. Could have stepped
Billy
up and
Horschel
played.
was?
Apparently. If we are to
That's
believe
cool.
Travis Holland in his comment.
That's
Which I'm choosing
or
to at this point.
Patrick Reed. I mean,
Phil.
Yeah. Phil more or less said the ship has sailed. Like,
I saw that. I saw
my
that. He
Ryder
said
Cup
he's
life
done.
is over, and nobody believes that. If they come to his doorstep,
Oh
beg
yeah,
him,
Phil having the ego trip of being able to be the guy that like leads the U.S. back from disappointment. Oh, he's
Correct.
absolutely doing that. He's absolutely doing that.
And
the question is, will they get the cat for 2027?
I was really anxious and hoping to see a Friday afternoon strong session after the Don showed up, so that he could just victory lap that whole thing, because that would have been the most guaranteed thing ever.
After he flew the plane, they flew the plane over the course in the middle of play.
Tiger,
yeah, that would have been an all-time victory lap from the Don. It definitely would have been. Yeah. 100th anniversary of the Ryder Cup in Adair. A great golf course. My father has played that course. So yeah. There's your Ryder Cup. There's your Ryder Cup. People are probably jumping on this, being like, they're not talking about the Ravens. We did our 22 minutes. We did all that we could in the 22 minutes.
Was out the window and the half-point thing was also out the window. Sam Burns would have had a putt to either extend the Ryder Cup or win the Ryder Cup or something of the sort in that final match that was there. He had like a 7-footer. He missed. Maybe it would have been different in a different scenario if it was for everything. And that would have been just a really epic way to end a Ryder Cup.
It would have.
Instead of Shane Lowry pop it off for earning a guarantee of a tie. Like,
yeah.
And him, congratulations on tying your match. let somebody who went and won their match, I think only Aubert did on their side, let him be the guy to really, he's the only guy who picked up a full point for them today, I think.
Correct.
So there's anybody who should be victory lapping, it's that guy.
McIntyre got a halve at the end, and Lord Tyrrell got one, I think, against Morikawa.
Yeah.
Tough week for Morikawa. Struggled.
Tough week for
America.
A lot of things.
Tough week. Well, last Sunday I said to Jake, like, just wait. We'll be celebrating a Chiefs and USA win on the instant analysis. And instead, Jake is at Ocean's Calling. Good move by him. You and I are lamenting a Ravens loss and a Team USA loss. What's crazy is in just a few weeks, you and I will be representing the other side.
Yeah, in the Captain's Cup.
Captain's Cup, where there are no ties. Alternate shot playoff. How about try that, Ryder Cup?
A 4-man alternate shot. You pick who goes off the tee. You pick the approach. You don't have to predetermine it, but you as a group, as a foursome, decide in real time. You stand over your ball. You say, who's the best man for this shot? And who do we want to leave on the table for the next shot or what have you? I mean, that would be an absolutely elite way to do a Ryder Cup at the very end after 3 days of grinding it out.
Don't let them warm up. Just send them up there with the bags. Send the 4 guys up there.
All 12 of them too. It's all 12. It's like NHL shootout, and you got to go through all 12 guys. And if you get through 2-3 holes and you get through the whole lineup, then it's, hey, we're right back at square one. Who of the 12 is going first? Or you could.
It's a free idea, PGA of America.
I mean, even then, just a straight up. I mean, this is what the envelope would be great for. Like, just your gladiator. Send out your best. God, if Rory and Scotty went out there to duke it out, hopefully on that first hole at Bethpage is, talk about all-time fraudulent holes. I mean,
that was a total nothing hole.
Totally a joke.
Can I say
the whole course was a joke?
There's not a lot of memorable holes on that course, and I feel like I watched 80% of this, maybe like 85% of it.
We just got
the stretch at the end is very fun in terms of how the holes kind of like from 16, 17, 18, they're kind of all around each other. There's the big scene. Like 17 is a cool, like kind of cauldron of a par 3. And then they would, but like even 18, like it's, everybody hit that fairway for the most part. Like, and even this is where the core setup came to play. Even if you hit into one of those bunkers, we saw Russell Henley. I mean, it's a great shot. Obviously, hit a great shot, but like it's a spot where you can hit a wedge. So even if you're in there, he's not dealing with lip issues. He's, guys in the rough are like getting it back there. I don't know. Weird week for Bethpage. I feel like I watched so much of the course, and I'm not coming away with where I was like, oh, I love that hole. I love that hole.
I think Long Island golf is wildly overrated.
Wow. There you have it.
Yep.
What'd you think about the fans?
Kind of weak on day one. Kind of brought it yesterday a little bit. Obviously, the kerfuffle with Rory. I mean, I don't think it's out of line to say what was the one like, hey, the bunker looks pretty tasty. I mean,
yeah, the only stuff through the Rory stuff that felt super out of line was you can't like attack the guy's like family when his wife's like following around.
The video that's really weird on that.
A little weird.
The cup looks like it gets knocked out of somebody's hand and not thrown. If you look closely at the videos, so
a little Zapruder film situation
just a little
the beer hitting Rory's wife.
Whoops-a-daisy.
Yeah. And he got to a point, I think part of the reason that happened was the U.S. team gave the fans so little to get excited about that it became let's see what we can yell at the Europeans, which,
pretty much.
And Rory, I guess, and Rory just has so much out there in the public sphere that the fans are going to say stuff to him. So I think it got a little out of hand.
Steering this back towards the Ravens, to throw out your two best uniform sets, your all blacks and then your whites on purple pants, and play the way that they have, just desecrates the aura of these uniforms. It's a joke.
Yeah.
There you have it. I mean,
I think that's a great way to put it.
It's a joke.
This is where we are. Wow. This is where we are, where the analysis is desecrating jerseys. That's when you know a season is going poorly. That is when you know.
Maybe we got to lose to all the big dogs so that we get them when it matters.
Bring it all back. People will not like that. People will not like you trying to bring it back around.
I couldn't be
something
less
positive.
It's the start of the championship DVD.
It is not. It is not. Ravens back in action next weekend. 12. Well, I'm saying 12. Geez, I'm firmly on Central Time here. 1 p.m. against the Texans at M&T Bank Stadium. There, a lot of them are becoming must-wins, but that feels like a certain must-win as you are, playing a struggling team. Although they won today against RDT's horrible Titans team. And we shall see. I was, normally Jake brings me in here at the end to give broadcast takes. I don't really have a ton new to say about Nance, Romo, and Tracy, to be honest with you.
I thought Romo opening up the second half with a little bit too much like, oh, they just got to get back to Derrick Henry. They just got to pound the rock. And it's like, the Chiefs are getting the ball first here. Like, you're treating this like it's a 10-point deficit, but you might as well just hang the 7 up there already. And sure enough, that's how it played out. And yeah.
I don't know where we lost the plot on Tony being an incredible, which you still see at times where he's very good at breaking down the action, to where he's gotten to like the narrative trope color analyst thing where he comes into the game with a key. And then like that, I mean, I was not, full honesty, was not locked in early as as the golf was still on. The golf was so much more compelling.
2 TVs, by the way, folks. I got a couple responses to me talking about the Ryder Cup, and it's like, man's not even watching the Ravens. Like, I got 2 TVs.
In 2025, it is possible to watch 2 things at once.
2 things
I had the Ryder Cup on my phone and the Ravens on TV, but like he probably hit on the day. Hey, it's got to be a big day for Derrick Henry. They got to establish run, blah blah blah, and then it's like, okay. Coming out of half, hey Jim, like what, or Tony, what are we gonna talk about? Well, we got to go back to Derrick Henry. They got to get back to Derrick Henry. So we talked about the beginning of the game. It's like sometimes the situation of the game changes and he just like stays on the same thing the entire time. Whereas what made him so great early was his ability. Like he should go back to the play predicting. Like the play predicting was fun. I don't know why people thought that was weird. Like that was awesome to see if he could pick the plays. Like it's not like a spoiler. The play still has to happen. So yeah. They're kind of. I'm sure. Can I tell you what? I bet Nance and Romo were locked into the golf too. Bet they were sitting there with one eye on the field and one eye. Those are two massive golf guys, obviously.
It was hard to take your eyes
Romo's
off.
freaking playing Q School, was playing Q School qualifying this week. So there you have it. People were getting after you for not watching the Ravens.
Yeah.
God forbid.
One of those things where when I sent something out there, I bitched about there being a playing through. The one that I just mentioned. It's like, how are we doing a playing through when literally every putt is the Ryder Cup is in, and like, just save it for after a full, just do the regular ass commercial and come back to me and tell me it's live.
Correct. So. Had that discussion with somebody earlier this week. Just come back and set it up. You don't need to. The Ben Griffin putt happened in playing through on Friday afternoon. Like, that was the biggest moment of the whole day for the U.S. He bangs in this long putt, and he's like going off on playing through. I'm like, if you had just gone to commercial and come back, it would have been like just set it up like it's live. Like you said, just set it up like it's live. I don't care. Like, I'm not seeing, like, unless you're really quick on Twitter, you're not, or another social media platform, not like seeing what happens. So stupid. Well, that'll do it. Ravens lose 37-20. You can follow the Exit 52 podcast on all platforms at Exit 52 Podcast. And you can follow all the boys here as the banner scrolls at the bottom. EDITTI22 for Eric. You can follow Banks at Barstool Banks. You can follow moi at Taylor Smythe 10. You can follow Jake. Hopefully Jake's enjoying the concert. It was a rainy day at Ocean's Calling, I heard yesterday, but it seems like it's been a fun festival down there in Ocean City. You can follow Jake at Jake Luke, LOUQUE. And you can follow Spencer at Ravens for Dummies, the number 4 between Ravens and Dummies, who's enjoying his European getaway. I love that Spencer continues to watch these games deep into the night in I think he's in Italy right now. That is commitment to the cause, and continues to go back and forth with everybody on the Everything app, giving his analysis. He's committed to the game. Enjoy. Everyone try their best to enjoy their weeks after this tough Ravens defeat. And Banks, you have a great, lovely rest of your night.
Will do.
Sayonara.